Hey everyone, this is Chioma, the Robot Diva, bringing you the best in robotics and creativity from Steam Divas. Today's episode is super exciting. I'm joined by the founder of Robo Success and the leader of the Humanoids Summit. You really want to hear her perspective about the robotics industry because that will change your life. Please welcome Jesica Chavez.
Hi, Joma. Thank you so much for having me here. It's a pleasure and an honor to be with you. I really love what you're doing. So thank you so much for the invite.
Let me tell you about this amazing lady. Jessica is an industrial engineer, entrepreneur, and group leader in the robotics space. She's the founder of Robo Success, a customer success and marketing agency dedicated to robotics companies scaling. Jessica is also the lead in the Humanoids Summit. And if you haven't been able to attend one, I highly recommend it. And if you're wondering, what is Humanoid Summit? This is one of the premier global events bringing together innovators, investors, and industry leaders in humanoid robotics. Jessica is someone who is passionate about technology, education, and building communities. She's been one of the people in the forefront of all of this, including bridging growth strategies with real world impacts.
Thank you, Choma, for that introduction. You made me blush.
This is the truth. I'm just speaking the truth. Jessica, let's get into your journey. Tell us a bit about yourself, who you are, and how did you get into robotics?
Well, I'm Jesica Chavez. I'm very proud of being born and raised in Mexico majority of my life. So I'm Latina at heart, right? And I came here to United States more than 12 years ago. I went to college in Mexico doing an industrial engineering degree. And I have to say that how I started with robotics is kind of a long story short, but my dad has factories of shoes all his life. And of course, as a kid, I grew up in those factories. And it was always for me interesting to understand why you need a lot of labor from the humans to do shoes, right? Like it was like I see a lot of people coming in and out making shoes. Um, at one point, actually, I noticed that it was even unsafe sometimes with the chemicals they were using for the glue and things like that. So it was always for me like it should be better ways to improve the quality of work for these people, the way we're doing processes. My dad is a business person. Um, but for me, it was coming that like technology needs to do something. So when I grew up, I didn't have many role models in engineering at all. I didn't know even that career. So I wanted to do something in business. I would say, thanks God, put a person in front of me, literally, who started talking about industrial engineering. And I say, I think I want to do that. And I started doing some research. I take a year off from high school to college because I want to make sure what I wanted to become.
Yeah.
And is when I realized that industrial engineering was making sense for me. But of course, everybody was like, "You're crazy. You're a woman. There is no career for you there. You are not the kind of person that you're gonna like the environment of work." Blah blah blah. I say I don't care. That's what I want to do. And while I was doing that, also I had the opportunity to work in a robotics company doing telemarketing. That was exactly what I was doing. And then, of course, my curiosity and everything started helping me to grow into having managing people in that department, then doing sales, then doing implementations until I finally was the director of the operations of the area. So of course, there was no many companies in Mexico that they do that, so I didn't have the chance to go different companies. But then I went into the software industry, and here when I moved to the US, was working very closely with robotics companies, software companies, STEM companies, and is when I start getting finally back to my path into robotics, work with Blue Ocean Robotics, work with Foreman, and start working for another small startups that they were trying to go into the market. And then, of course, now Humanoids Summit and Robo Success has been born because creating that community. And that's where it has been bringing me so far to this journey.
Oh, that's a beautiful story. It's always funny, like how we as problem solvers, and in the process of trying to solve those problems, that's when we find our directions. And so, for you, what was that aha moment? What was that moment that happened that you were like, "Yeah, this is robotics. It's for me."
I think again comes from that story when I was a child, looking that there was always a way to make processes better, right? And I have seen robotics firsthand. I have been implementing them. I have seen how it has changed the life of people. I can tell you, for instance, working for Blue Ocean Robotics with the UVD robots at the moment when the pandemic was going through the hardest, I have seen how hospitals were reducing for 4 hours, 5 hours cleaning surgical room to 15 minutes. So before they were having to wait for a patient to have it in the surgical room 5 to 6 hours. And now they can have it ready for between 15, 20 minutes. So that was making hospitals available for patients. And on top of that, people who was disinfecting rooms didn't have to use all those high risk chemicals for them that they even have. Well, of course, they wear masks and gloves and so on. But imagine also all the things that you are saving to the environment. Now you don't have to be wasting gloves, mask, chemicals that are also going into the environment. So you are affecting too many different areas, patient, the people that works, environment, and so on. So it's when, for me, looking how robotics impacts in too many different areas, I know it's the industry that I want to work with because I love helping and helping with technology and making sure that technology is doing a great impact is the best thing you can ever do. At least for me, it's like I'm super happy when technology is doing an impact not only in the persona but in different areas.
I think that this is going to lead me into another question here. And I wanted to take a minute to turn this around to what you're currently doing. Seeing that you're someone that likes to solve a problem, I figured Robo Success came out of a problem in the industry that you wanted to solve. As the founder of Robo Success, can you tell us what inspired you to create Robo Success, and what is it in that specific problem that is in this industry that you want to solve?
Absolutely. Well, I think we can see robotics industries are blooming every day, right? People, engineers, and these amazing things are coming with these great solution ideas. But going to the market, especially for the ones that are start building the first prototype, the first kind of product to go to market, they need also a marketing and a customer success team. And they are raising for money. They are not ready to be hiring a full team on an expert that charge a lot of money for a year, right? Yeah. But they will still need to have this help of how to get in front of people, how to gain traction, how to understand if the product makes sense or not. And again, I have been working with too many entrepreneurs in this area, and I realized that that was the problem. Hey, who can help me to do a little video about my robot? Who can help me to understand what social media channels to use? Being an entrepreneur, you have to take a lot of roles and a lot of hats, right? And marketing sometimes is a burden for them because they need to be raising money. They need to also to be managing how they are developing the product, managing people, too many different pieces that marketing is a pain for them because sometimes they don't even understand it, right? So people tell you, oh, you have to be posting every day. You have to post every 2 days. You have to go to shows. You have to do a blog. You have to do this. and then they get overwhelmed. So this is when I create a team that we help these founders to, with a small budget, that they don't have this money to spend in big marketing agencies and all that, because they are raising for money. So put a team that we can make something accessible for them, and at the same time be that help in this stage of them, right? I understand that they might be getting to a point where they grow and they have their team, and I'm going to be so happy to see them growing into there. But at the beginning, I want to be the hand that is helping them to raise money, to get the first customers, to understand the first customers. And once they are ready to grow and scale, I'm going to hug them and say, I'm glad we were there to help you to get here.
Wow, that is good. It's such a unique area that you currently are, and it's a need that actually needs to be solved. So I completely love what you're doing. But I think one of the things you said was that as an entrepreneur, we wear so many hats. I am wearing so many hats. Like, take this recording right now. I had to do that. I had to wake up. So marketing is not something that I think about much. Least of all fundraising. But I think those are what we like to call challenges. So let's segue into a question about challenges, because we know how much we gain when we overcome them, right? So tell us about one challenge that you have faced helping robotics companies grow, and how did you overcome it?
I would say the first challenge, I think, is that probably they don't understand what they need, right? How they need it. So they come up with a problem like, I have this frustration of I need to do a campaign, or I need to start targeting my product, even sometimes building their website, right? We even work for building their websites, and they don't have the idea of how they even want to structure their website or what even they want to put. So the challenge is also help them to narrow the ideas, right? And start, for me, always, I like, as an engineer, I like to do it by incremental growth, right? So we start with something very simple. Instead of coming with the big idea, let's start simplifying it. And then we can do incrementals in adding more value, right? Again, I can tell you, for instance, the website. Of course, as a starting company, the first thing you need to do is people knowing about you, how they are going to reach out to you, right? Who you are, what is your product trying to solve. And at the beginning, also, people sometimes they want everything to be perfect the first time. And I always say, no, it's a room for growth and for learning. So maybe at the beginning, you are saying that your robot is solving each problem in the farms for apples, but maybe later you understand that the use case is a little different, or that is a different position to the market, and we can change it. Always people needs to understand that changing is okay. That if you start with one slogan and later you want to change it, that's fine. If you start with one logo that probably didn't look that beautiful, but then later you turn it into something amazing, it's okay that people see that you are ready to evolve and to grow. So I think the challenges is even start with the people to understanding who they are, what they want, and how we are going to address that. So again, I have an amazing team. We have web developers, we have graphic designers, we have marketing in my team. So we always get all together with our different personalities and culture, try to come around with what is going to be the best strategy for our clients.
Yeah, I love that. I think change is something that is consistent, and it's a big struggle for a lot of people. So most times they want things to be perfect. So having you there, level headed, helping them to just recognize that, yeah, this is something that we need, and we can slowly evolve, because growth is also part of change, right? That's very, very helpful. I love what you're doing.
I would say, again, it's kind of like with their products, right? They are developing the first prototype. Right now, it probably doesn't even look any close to how they want it, but they know that prototype is going to evolve and finally look the way they think about it. So it's the same for the marketing or any the strategy they have. It's going to evolve and grow and finally be the perfect campaign that they were looking for, the best website that they were looking for, but they need to be open to that change.
Yes, yes. And this goes for anyone listening right now. Growth is allowed. Let's move into another area of your passion. As someone who is passionate about community building, so we are excited about your work with the Humanoids Summit. Tell us what inspired you to launch the Humanoids Summit.
I would say I'm not going to take that ownership from Modar, who is the founder of the Humanoid Summit. He is the founder also of Ventures. He came with this idea to me that say, hey, humanoids is growing and they don't have an ecosystem. Let's do something for them. Let's join forces. I want to invite you to my team. I know you are very well connected and love this community. So help me to have this amazing idea. So I would say Mother came with this great idea. It has full of contacts for investors, leaders in that industry. And we put together this event to create that an ecosystem. Again, we understand that a company cannot grow alone, right? They need to have partners. They need to have an ecosystem. And humanoids is growing and people, or at least different markets and industries, are seeing the value of them. And in order to be able to scale, to produce, to implement, and so on, they need a lot of different partners. Where are they, right? And is we see a lot of companies, a lot of robotics companies now going into humanoids. And to me, doesn't mean they are competitors. I actually see them as they are going to be partners to each other because they might be one that understand one use case very well for the humanoids industry versus there are others who are going to focus in a totally different use case for that. And when we have bring them together is what we have seen, creating that ecosystem, that community where we see somebody from one company sharing insights to the other that is from another company that people will think, oh, they are competitors, enemies. They are not. You can see how people is in love during that events. And like you were saying, people has been coming back to our events because they tell us this has been the most amazing event. I have never been able to speak with these people before. And here it was like talking with somebody that you already knew, happy to have a chat, have a conversation, and most important, doing connection that was adding value, making business for some of them or open opportunities for them that they didn't see in this space. So I know there is also a lot of people who is against this industry, and I understand also the reasoning behind. And it was funny, one of a very close friend of mine, which I'm not going to see his name, it was also part of that group, right? Once he came, he said, thank you so much for inviting me because completely changed the perspective that I was having in the industry. And I now realize how wrong I was thinking about this, right? So I feel that we have been also trying to turn in around that negativity that some people has been having against this industry. And that is something that I like, right? There is no negativity about any industry at all. We are here to help. And this industry needs a lot of support. So creating the Humanoid Summit, it was helping this specific area of the robotics industry and helping this community.
Oh, I like that. So someone who completely was anti-humanoids, right? Just got there, met people, got exposed to knowledge, and they changed their mind. Like I told you all have to attend the Humanoid Summit if you haven't been able to, because it's not just for people who are there trying to get um, investors or building stuff, but also you can learn something new that can completely change your mind. And talking about humanoids, you can't turn on the news these days without seeing something about humanoids. And as one who is in the forefront of all of this, how do you see humanoid robotics shaping the future of industry and society?
I mean, we can see it, like you say, right now, right? Using videos. Like,
Yeah.
I'm seeing how different industries are coming to say, hey, how this humanoid can be implemented for this use case. again, as a part of the Humanoids Summit, like lately, I have been reached out for many people in the medical industry that are totally knowing the robotics industry, but they came and say, hey, what technology or companies are you having that I might be connected with during the event? Because I want to have these use cases specific for hospitals, right? And or patient care. So I see that there is a lot of different industries trying to address other challenges with this specific technology. Um, Lately, I have been also reached out by people in Mexico and Chile where they are trying to say, hey, we need to bring more technology to our countries.
Mhm.
People is not looking at us the way they should be looking. We are willing to invest in this technology.
Nice.
What can be bring, into our countries to help? And it goes from research. It goes from, again, being working in manufacturing. Some of them, they want it for hospitality. Some of them want in the medical area. Some of them, they want it in the entertainment. I have been people to say, I want to have a show, a fashion show with humanoids. And it's like, wow, that sounds super cool, right? So I think there is a lot of people who is trying to say, hey, humanoids could be a lot of different things, right? For different use cases. Why? Because of course it has the human shape, and a lot of people also still mistaking that because have the human shape can do everything humans can do.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, no yet. They are not yet there, right? But of course, it gives you like. I always passionate about talking about diversity, right? So if I see another woman, like look like me, it's easier to follow that person.
Yes.
Right? And it's the same here with the robots. For a lot of people, it has been easier to think about robots right now with the humanoids because they look like them in some way or other.
Yes.
So that's why probably people has been now we see them in the reels. Like my Instagram is full of different videos from humanoids versus other robots. I know robots has been here for many years, right?
Yeah.
Now we see, in the reel making popcorn, other selling ice cream and so on. And why? Because they look like us and we can think that they are going to replicate what we're capable of, right?
I love that. I think that it's quite interesting that there are two sides to this where we make them humans and we're not comfortable with some of the testing that's been done on a human, but it's just a robot. And then we have this assumption that they can do some of the great things that we can, but they cannot. But I do like that just because we relate to them as human, it allows for the expansion of robotics. So I do see, like you mentioned, the benefits to the industry and also to society. Here at STEAM Divas, we are all about bringing arts into STEM. And that means creativity comes into STEM spaces. And one area we think STEAM is very important is in the humanoids fields. Just like you mentioned, we have a tendency of related to that, and there is nothing more human and artsy than humans, right? So why do you think creativity and storytelling are important in robotics?
Wow, I can tell you for too many reasons, right? Creativity, first of all, I think is a superpower that no one can take from us, right? Yes, there are a lot of AI tools right now that you can say, inspire me on having a story about this. Fine. It was made by AI and take 5 of your minutes. But if you create your own story, right? Nobody will take it from you. If you do your drawing, nobody's going to take it from you, right? And creativity for me is not just about art. A lot of people get with the confusion of, being creative is how to do a nice painting or how to do a nice song. And always we confuse it with just art. That creativity is the art of how even to solve a problem. For me, I have to say from all my family, including my daughter, I the less artistic ever. But for me, creativity is how I solve a problem, how I go around, work around something, how I come up with different solutions. And that is for me creativity, right? Like I come with the art of making things different. Who even like again thinking in a marketing campaign. There are a lot of trends and a lot of people doing the same. Be the creative of doing something different. Who to solve a problem for a customer in customer success, being creative, right? Like, and I would say Mexicans, we are very good at it. There are many jokes around, right? That we are able to fix something even with a pen, right? Like we have a pen and we go and fix it because
MacGyvers.
that's and that is creativity. And if you learn to use and train that superpower, there are no robots, there are no technology that are going to take that away from you. So when people come and say they are afraid of robots taking over their jobs or AI, I always say, train your creativity. So no, always people will look at you that you are the better in solving problems, in making this better, and that is not, nobody will take it from you because that cannot be trained. AI or robotics use models to be trained, and they cannot be trained with your creativity unless of course you decide to be giving away that, but it's very hard that they are come up with their own creativity, right? So and for me it is a superpower that we need to understand it better and value better.
Mm. I love what you said. You said creativity also can be a way of solving problems, and that is so true. And given that humanoid robotics solve problems, yeah, so I can see definitely how creativity becomes really important in what they do. Oh, so in reading your bio, education is one of your many passions. How has education shaped your approach as an entrepreneur?
In too many ways. Also, lately, I started doing my MBA, right? And thinking how to shape better all my understanding in business, right? I would say that I was born and raised by a business person, and I have never learned more than from him. But at the same time, education helps you to shape into having access to information that you couldn't have access before, right? Like is sparking you ideas and sparking you ways that probably is difficult to get exposed out of that. And education is not just about going into college or going into a specific program. Right now, I always have said if I had all these resources when I was a kid, going into YouTube, learning from ChatGPT, learning from these other different kind of tools, things will be different. So education is having that spark and curiosity for learning something, right? There are now to access to too many different ways to be educated that you don't necessarily have to be going into college, right? If you really want to learn something, I always say that people start looking in YouTube, start looking, especially for instance, there are too many platforms that they now have their own academias, right? And for free. So you can go, and Ross has a big community. If you want to learn about Ross, there is a big community that you can get and start getting the training. And of course, if you see that curiosity keeps growing on you, you always are able to pursue something bigger. But start with going and reading what is going on there. Let me play a little bit, and then you can start keep learning. So education for me is not just about college or a school, but it's how you are keep growing your skills, how you keep sparking that curiosity.
Yeah, curiosity is very important. And we here at RobotDiva, we actually do offer a program people can go watch and build their own robot that fixes a problem within their own personal space. So yeah, you're right. Education is not necessarily going to get a degree somewhere. It's just having that curiosity to learn. And we have all the tools right now. People watching this might say, "Oh, I'm just a beginner, so I don't know where to start and all of that." So our primary audience members may have a passion about robotics, but sometimes they don't know where to start, and that's good. What advice do you have for someone thinking about starting out in robotics?
I would say robotics is a very broadened area, right? That there are too many different roles that need to be around robotics, from software development, hardware development, mechanical, engineering, electrical, right? Even design. When we were saying about creativity, well, there are people who need to really do the design, the aesthetic design of a robot, right? So there are too many different areas that you can be doing in robotics. And it could be for having a degree and also in the technical side.
Mhm.
So always for me, especially since again I took that year off from high school to college, every time I can talk to someone, if you are not sure about what you want to do, take a break and meet people, talk with people, ask questions. And here also at the same time, I will invite all the people that is listeners, please take calls or chats from these young kids because you don't know how much impact you can do if you give them 10 minutes of your day to just answer a few questions. What you do for your career, how you make it, what are your challenges? I don't know, whatever are the questions, you can change their world. And I can say because that happened to me, right? I didn't know about industrial engineer till I met someone who started talking about it.
Yeah.
And every time I have the opportunity to talk to someone, I will do it. And what I will always say to these kids is try to find as much resources you can to do research of what you want to do. Right now, also, if people cannot talk to you, there are a lot of videos in YouTube, people talking about their careers in robotics. There are a lot of material out there. And even if you have a chance to go and visit a company, that would be even better, right? So you can get a little of what is happening there. The lab in one of the universities, a lot of universities have a laboratory of robotics. Try to go and ask some questions, especially if you are doing tours for college, could be a good way to start. Um, but you always ask and ask as many questions. Don't think about that doing ABC is going to take you there. Sometimes when you start talking with people, you start realizing, oh, I didn't realize that mechanicals can be doing this, or I didn't realize that industrial engineers can be also be doing this in this industry, right? So start talking with different people and realize what is the profile you want to do. And talking about change, that could also be changing, right? I think a lot of people sometimes doesn't realize that they might start in one path, but later life can bring you different opportunities and change that path. So also don't feel stuck because you start in one journey and now you want to change. Because if you ask the right questions, your path can be changed. So I always have said this because I have seen people going from being in business and doing something very engineering, going in engineering and doing something very business related. And there is always this misunderstanding from many people that how can I switch my path? How can I go from working in this industry to this other industry? I would say, again, working with different teams and different companies, all those skills are very valuable because you understand things that probably other didn't understand, right? And you still have a lot of valuable to add when you are working in this industry. So is asking questions will be the first thing I will suggest.
I completely agree here. And don't be scared of reaching out to people. And even when people reach out to you, people say yes. Go to schools, talk to them. As you know, that's what we do here with Steam Divas. We are trying to get young women that think they can be in the spaces to look at us and say, yes, I too can do this. And if you're out there, you're listening to something we're saying and it touches you and you want to ask a question to Jessica. Definitely, we will be sharing her information later. But I have a question, and this is something related to how we spoke about women here. And as a woman in STEM and also an entrepreneur, we know that you face unique challenges and have unique insights. So, what advice would you give young women who want to break into this space?
Never be afraid of speak up. Because yes, I would say that majority of the companies I have been working for, I have been probably the only woman in the team
Mm.
or just one of them. Like maybe we are three or more, especially at the beginning. And sometimes that could be like, oh man, what if I say something wrong, right?
Mhm.
And it could be intimidating at some point, or it could be like you are totally alone as a woman, right? And don't be afraid of a speak up. That would be the first thing. Just say what you think and take ownership of any ideas that you are bringing to the table. Um, and be you. I feel like as a woman, we bring such a unique value
Mm.
that, again, I have seen it in too many teams coming back to creativity that they never thought about thinking how even to move one part of the robot because they were thinking in a very specific way. And then as a woman, is like, have you realized that probably when you are in the kitchen, you need this? And it's like, oh, because probably they have never even been in the kitchen, right? And then I can tell you, I'm a mom. You're a mom too.
Mhm.
When you become a mom, your brains is split in too many different ways
Yeah.
that you learn things that you never knew that you were capable of knowing.
Yeah.
And I hate to say this because I know they are amazing dads, but trust me, guys, the brain of a mom is something that I don't think AI never will able to understand and capable of do.
Yes.
So the value that we bring from that brain in a company, oh my gosh, when I'm working with women that are moms, I can see the power of turning a problem into 10 different solutions in 5 minutes because we know how to solve problems like nobody else.
Yeah. Nice.
And sometimes people ask me, how can you do it as a single mom and doing this and that? Yes, that's what moms learn how to do it. And we know how to get it done. We can be sick as hell and still going through the day, even with fever, with whatever we have going on. And we go cook, clean, work, take it at school, take it to violin, and so on.
Yeah.
So, women, we bring more value than anybody else can think of. And if you recognize that value that you have, that uniqueness, is
Mhm.
going to be amazing, right? And not only because you're a woman, but because all the things that you can see from their perspective that the other gen, right, males cannot see.
Mm.
And same, right? Don't feel like the male cannot be adding value to you. It's the same. They have a different perspective of the thing. So when we work as a team and
Mm.
when we are part of making that happening, we create super powerful things. So a real team needs to have those two different perspectives.
Oh, that's true. That's true. That's so true. Diversity is a superpower. It's not helping one group of people. It's not giving people opportunities that don't deserve it. It's being able to harness all of the powers that is coming from different perspective. I I don't know how well I enjoy how well you put this. Even just coming in as a mom or coming in as someone who's without kids, it's just different perspective, and this is just amazing, amazing. And I have nothing else to add. This is great. I love, love, love every single thing about this particular conversations that we're having, and I'm sure people would love to hear more from you. Where can people find you to connect with you?
Absolutely. I love connecting people in LinkedIn. I think my handle is Jesica Chavez with one S. So it's easy to find me because I think there are not too many Jessicas with one S. So LinkedIn is the right way to follow me. Of course, I have the website robo-success.com. And yes, but LinkedIn is the best way if you really want to reach personally to me.
Awesome, awesome. And I would have all of this information in the description so you don't really have to worry too much. We'll also share the links with the Humanoid Summit. So if you're interested in that, you can also go to their website and look at that. But now let's run over to one of my favorite segment of the show. This is what I like to call the rapid fire questions. So let's answer some questions before we go, okay? So, favorite robot in pop culture?
I would say R2D2.
There you go. If a humanoid robot had a superpower, what would it be?
Oh, cleaning my kitchen.
I mean, yes, I mean, do all my chores.
I always say that cleaning all my chores now, but cleaning my kitchen is kind of like I hate it. I love cooking, but cleaning it is kind of hard.
That is my song for you. Uh, one song that you think belongs on the Robot Diva playlist.
Oof, I love music. I'm so bad at names. I can tell you just something that is Shakira because, of course, I love Shakira. So, whatever song you want to play from her, put it on the Steam at Divas. She's Latina. I love what she's doing. I love what she's doing in education for girls. So, I would say put something from Shakira.
Okay, Shakira, it is awesome. So, and to everyone watching, don't forget to check out our other Robot Diva videos where we explore builds, ideas, and innovations in robotics. So, never stop imagining and creating. And maybe one day you'll be building the next humanoid robot that we'll be talking about on this channel. Thank you guys. Thank you, Jessica, for joining us right now. We really appreciate your time here. And we hope that we can continue to see the amazing things you're doing with Robot Success and also the amazing thing you're doing with the Humanoid Summit.
Thank you, Chama. It was a pleasure to be here. I really appreciate it.